regrets, sir. Bless you.
Major John McMurray, surgeon, born and raised in Guelph, Ontario.
Poppies. No. Blow. Between crosses, row on road. If ye break faith, we shall not sleep.
Mr. McMurray?
In Flanders fields.
What is it?
I'm not sure.
John McMurray of Montreal died in the war, but his poem is still spoken aloud when men, women, and children gather to remember.
House was like a tomb. I was hiding in my room as my brother made his way on down the hall. I didn't want to say goodbye, and I was trying to deny there was a war, and that he'd got the call. I watched him from my window walking down the drive. And I ran down the stairway through the front door and I cried, "You come back here." And I let him see my tears. I said, "I'll give you my rookie of DiMaggio. I'll do anything you want. Clean your room or wash your car. I'll do anything so long as you don't go." He said, "This is what brothers are for." Well, I had my heroes, but the one I loved the most taught me how to hunt and swing a bat. And I rode him every night. I said I miss our pillow fights, but lately I just wonder where you're at. Well, sometimes freedom makes it hard to live, but it takes things from you that you don't want to give. I said, "You come back here. I miss you being near the laughing fish down in the maple grove. Yeah, I'll do anything you want. There must be someone I can call, and just maybe they would let you come back home." But he wrote, "This is what brothers are for." I may never have to face the anger of those guns, or lie cold and wounded in my blood, or know the sacrifice and what it must have cost for him to love me that much. Well, it had been 2 years, and I held back my tears when I saw him in that wheelchair on the shore. And as I ran and held him tight, that's when he looked me in the eye. He said, "I'm sorry that you have to push me home." And I said, "Hey, this is what brothers are for."
I joined because I wanted to help others.
I joined to make my community stronger.
To acknowledge that our freedoms come at a cost.
I joined to honor my mom.
My neighbor.
Everyone who served.
The day I shipped out, they numbered a dozen. Upon my return, we're 100 or so. From the coast and from the prairies, I bet they keep coming. Add one more name from Ontario and carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above with the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. I served with distinction, no visions of glory. I served without question of personal gain. Seek no justification, it's not part of my story, and it offers no comfort to the ones who remain. Just carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above, the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. Took up my vocation, I was called by my nation. Without hesitation, my answer I gave. Now I'm not wondering the things that I might have been, are no consolation to the forgotten brave. So carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above with the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. Carry me home down the highway of heroes. People I love with their hands on low. And carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. 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 There was never more.
November 11th, the most unforgettable day of the year. A message from the Government of Canada.
They fought and some died for their homeland. They fought and some died, now it's our land. Look at his little child, there's no fear in her eyes. Could he not show respect for other dads who have died? Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest, may we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. God forgive me for wanting to strike him. Give me strength so as not to be like him. My heart pounds in my breast, fingers pressed to my lips. My throat wants to bawl out, my tongue barely resists. But 2 minutes I will bide. It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest, may we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. Read the letters and poems of the heroes at home. They have casualties, battles, and fears of their own. There's a price to be paid if you go, if you stay. Freedom's fought for and won in numerous ways. Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls all over. May we never forget our young become vets at the end of the line. It's a pittance of time. It takes courage to fight in your own war. It takes courage to fight someone else's war. Our peacekeepers tell of their own living hell. They bring hope to foreign lands that hate mongers can't kill. Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who go over. In peacetime our best still don battle dress and lay their lives on the line. It's a pittance of time. In peace may they rest, lest we forget why they died. Take a pittance of time.
The bright red poppy has deep meaning in Canada.
For me, it means remembering my grandfather. He's a veteran. Remembering the contributions that they've made for keeping us safe and allowing us to have the country we live in.
To honor those people that died for the country.
The sacrifices they made, in terms of our liberty and freedoms that we have now. That's what it symbolizes to me.
Using the poppy as a powerful symbol of remembrance was inspired by the famous poem In Flanders Fields. It was written by Canadian Lieutenant Colonel John McMurray during the First World War. An Act of Parliament later gave the Royal Canadian Legion the exclusive right to use the poppy as the nation's symbol of remembrance. The lapel poppy for the Remembrance period is created in Canada, starting with bolts of red fabric. The poppy makes its first appearance at the ceremonial first poppy presentation to the Governor-General of Canada. Once the Legion's National Poppy Campaign officially starts on the last Friday in October, volunteers and organizations hand out poppies. The funds collected ultimately help our veterans, support our communities, and help promote remembrance.
The Legion's helped me through the Poppy Fund with rent, food, and groceries.
Paul Valiquette served on several missions overseas and faced a challenging transition to civilian life. Now a service officer with the Legion's Provincial Command in Regina, he is a first point of contact for other veterans needing help, like a woman who was about to have her power cut off.
And as soon as I said that we're going to try to help her, she was really relieved. The stress level came down.
The Poppy Fund is supporting Paul's training to become a certified mental health first aid instructor for veterans, their families, and caregivers, teaching them how to provide initial help during a mental health emergency. Donated funds also help organizations such as the Pearly and Rideau Veterans Health Centre in Ottawa.
Equipment like a medical bed that we have to provide, but it would not be possible without the support of the Legion, or it could be a lift, or just recently we were able to change all the dining room furniture, and that is really providing comfort for our veterans that will not be possible without the support of the Legion.
Delphine Hasley says even adding seemingly small things, such as new benches in bright hallways, is actually life-giving.
I want to say thank you. Thank you to all the members of the Legion. Thank you to the public who are supporting the Poppy Fund.
Close to 20 million poppies are distributed annually during the National Poppy Campaign. Every year, close to that same number of dollars goes back into helping veterans in our communities, from providing life essentials to helping homeless veterans get off the streets.
I don't want to see anybody else suffer like I did.
Back in the classroom, Paul is happy to have the opportunity to help other veterans directly.
It's a way of giving back type thing, so at the same time as I present this course, hopefully I'm presenting more about the Legion, about what we do, and the Poppy Fund.
So I thank everybody for their service, honestly. And when I put on the Poppy, it makes me feel proud to be a Canadian. I've been a Canadian for the past 5 years, and honestly, I just feel honored to be here.
Thank you for supporting the Royal Canadian Legion's National Poppy Campaign. To learn more about how the Poppy Trust Fund helps veterans, visit legion.ca.
Talk of trouble is sent through the country, and we need an army to fight for the right. Young men enlist and are sent to the battle to fight the offender and help our allies. And the young men cry, "Oh Canada, we'll gladly go and fight for thee." And the young men cry, "Oh Canada, we'll fight to keep you free. The battle's raging, gunfire is blazing. A tired young soldier is clinging to life. He's ordered on and obeys by advancing. No hope of returning from the enemy fire. And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, if it must be so, I'll die for thee." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, I'll die to keep you free." And we own this, oh Canada, the land where we all used to be. And we all long for Canada, the true north, strong and free. The soldier cries, "Oh Canada, if it must be so, I'll die for thee." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, I'll die to keep you free." Far away we have seen a great danger, and yet there's a danger much greater within. The noise we make as we constantly bicker would hush not a whisper if we listen to hear. All the thousands cry, "Oh Canada, is that why we have died for thee?" And the soldiers cry, "Oh Canada, we died to keep you free." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, be true and strong for me." guns, I feel the fire. With my last breath, my spirit flies. And I see the faces of my friends, fighting till the end. So many fearless hearts. I feel their courage and their pain. Their lives should never be in vain. From heaven's gate, a perfect view. The plain and simple truth is lighting up the dawn. Love one another, that stranger is your brother. Leave a footprint everywhere you go. Keep yesterday forgiven, today just for living. Say a prayer every night for tomorrow. I pray the past can teach us all. Before another hero falls, before another mother cries, forever asking why, oh why? Oh, can we love one another? That stranger is your brother. Leave a footprint everywhere you go. Keep yesterday forgiven, today just for living. Say a prayer every night for tomorrow. Standing strong and true, on God for me and you. Standing strong and true, on God for me and you. So we can love one another. That stranger is your brother. Leave a footprint everywhere you go. Keep yesterday forgiven, today just for living. Say a prayer every night for tomorrow. Bless the true believers who stand and fight for freedom, so we can live in peace right here at home. Keep yesterday forgiven, today just for living. Say a prayer every night for tomorrow. Say a prayer every night for tomorrow.
Turn!
Good morning, everyone. My name is...
Parade! By the left! Quick! March!
Dip your flags, dip your flags. Sure, yeah, come on. Color party, left, turn. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, follow him out. It was all part of the plan. It was all part of the plan. Always a mess up. Always some sort of a mess up. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bill Rockwell, and I'm honored to be your Master of Ceremonies for today's Remembrance Day services. As a veteran of the Canadian Armed Forces, I would like to personally thank you for attending. Today, on this most hallowed of days, we'll be commemorating those who paid the ultimate sacrifice on our nation's behalf, those who have come home and those who continue to serve in our armed forces. The Fort McMurray branch of the Royal Canadian Legion is immensely thankful for your support. Of special note, at the conclusion of the ceremony today, you are invited to continue placing wreaths and your poppies at the base of the cenotaph or pin them on the wreaths already placed. Would everybody please be seated? Now I'd like to introduce our stage guests from Branch 165, Comrade Pat Duggan. I'd like to introduce next our chaplain, Robert Parmenter. Our Silver Cross mother, Debbie Pinkson. Representing MP Layla Goodrich, Monique Gauthier. Oh, excuse me, sorry. MLA for Fort McMurray Lac La Biche, Brian Jean, Minister of Jobs, Economy and Northern Development. MLA for Fort McMurray Wood Buffalo, Tanny Yao, Parliamentary Secretary for Rural Health. Our Mayor, Sandy Bowman. Our CMP Superintendent, Mark Hancock. Regional Emergency Services Fire Chief, Jody Butts. Army Cadet CO, Captain Joanne Angel. Air Cadet CO, Captain Elaine Hopkins. Representing UN NATO Veterans Canada, Brian Picard. Will everyone now please rise for the playing of O Canada? Uniform members, please replace headdress. Be seated. And now I'd like to introduce some of our stage guests for some remarks. I'll begin with our president, Pat Duggan.
Thank you, everyone. Comrades, esteemed guests, those of us joining us online, I would like to take the time to thank you for coming to this, again, Branch 165's Remembrance Day ceremony. It's been a little bit since we've been here, and it's really nice to see so many people showing up to show support today. Thank you. We have gathered here to acknowledge those men and women who have served and continue to serve on our country's armed forces. Those special ones amongst us who choose to accept the challenges that we as a nation tasked them with and met those challenges head on. And in doing so with the quiet professionalism and steadfast determination Canadians are known the world over for. we especially gather to pay our respects to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice in support of Canada, whether home or abroad. Today, we still send our troops to all corners of the globe. Over 2,500 of our nation's sons and daughters again place themselves in harm's way on our behalf, not only to ensure our security, but to try and secure the hope and freedom of others around the world. Their current deployments range from far and wide, but also include duties within our own borders. National protection duties at home, 12 current missions, range in scope from supporting local authorities in disaster response to patrolling the high Arctic. Beyond our borders, there are 27 current missions internationally. These missions cover a broad range of tasks: counter-narcotics operations in the Caribbean, airlift support in Africa, EOD work in the Pacific, enforcing UN sanctions imposed against North Korea, and deterrence measures in Europe, which include training operations for Eastern European countries, including the Ukraine. These countries who are looking to protect themselves effectively from foreign aggression. With so many conflicts continuing to expand across the world, we have an important task. As citizens who are lucky enough to live in a free and democratic country, it is critical that we continue to show our love and support for those we send out on our behalf to protect others and ourselves. To properly take up the torch and honor those who have set themselves the task to protector of our nation, both past and present, we must fully embrace the duty of healing our nation's warriors. Service under constant threat of violence and the readiness to do violence when necessary takes an extreme toll on one's soul. We are far removed from the exceedingly harsh realities of combat, and a large part of that is due to the sacrifices made by those who have served and who currently serve in our armed forces. We must ensure that we constantly strive to bring them back and make them whole again, so they may re-enter and enjoy our day-to-day society, that society that many of us tend to take for granted. As has been said before, if we send them, we must mend them. Thank you.
And now our chaplain, Robert Parmenter, please.
Oh, it is so good to see everybody out today, and we thank you for taking the time to come out for a few minutes today. John 15:13 says, "Greater love had no man than this, that they lay down his life for his friends." Today we come together, we are here to remember all of those who are called to serve and protect, both at home and away. The ancient Greek had two words for time, one being chronos, the other being kairos. Kairos signifies a proper or opportune time for action. I cannot think of a better time or opportune time for action than today. We come together on November the 11th, every year to remember. But today, as we see our Silver Cross Mother, who I am sure there is not a day that goes by that she does nothing but remember. Remember the fact that her son, Corporal Brian Pinkston, at the age of 20, paid the ultimate sacrifice by giving his life on the front lines, standing on guard to serve and to protect. It is the time for action, not just for today, but for every day. We are here to pay honor and tribute to all those who are willing to take that stand to protect and serve and say, this is not happening, not on my watch. It's just not going to happen. And they are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice to make that happen. And this goes for all those who are away to serve or serving here at home. We must never forget the sacrifice of youth, innocence, or even life itself that our comrades in arms have made and continue to make to this very day. The freedoms we enjoy, we owe to them. The peace we so often take for granted, we owe to them. Even the right to disagree with the ongoing need for those to serve and protect, we owe to them. We must never forget the cost of freedom, nor the value of a single life that has been lost. We are able to come together today, express opinions and views, move freely, live peacefully, and interact with any person we choose. For all of this and so much more, we need to be thankful and remember, and we need to say thanks more often than we do. I am here today to challenge all of us to take the time to be thankful every day, that we are free because of those standing on the front lines, those who are willing to put their life on the line. And I say this to you today, to look around at the veterans that still come proudly to these services, and to younger veterans in uniform who both willingly endured so that you and I would not have to, and we need to be grateful. We are here today to remember all of those who serve our country and all those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. We should never be too busy to remember for all of those giving their lives for freedom, as well as all those that made it home and the families that sacrificed their loved one went away not knowing if they will ever be coming back. And for all of those that do come home, that is only one step, as many struggle to fit in to their new normal, their new life, and find a place where they fit. It's not easy, and they need to be remembered, respected, and looked after for their willingness to stand and serve and protect. John 3:16 says, God sent his Son to die for all of us, the ultimate sacrifice. He is a God of more than enough, a God of absolute plenty, abundance, love, and comfort. There is always more, so give him your time. Try him, and he will be able to take what you give him and increase it, and you will accomplish more than you've ever had in the past or you could dream. But more importantly, never forget to take the time to remember the opportune time for action is now. And there are practical ways that you can help remember and support our veterans by becoming part of your local Legion and serving. It's not just for those who have served, but those who want to give back to those that have. In the act of remembrance, one line says, at the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. It does not say just on November the 11th. It says at the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. That is not just today, but every day. And wearing the poppy is a sign of respect and remembrance. And today we remember the famous poem in Flanders Fields, which you will hear in a little bit. But I also call to mind the part of another poem that says, we shall keep the faith. The second verse of that poem says, we cherish too the poppy red that grows on fields where valor led. It seems to signal to the skies that blood of heroes never dies, but lends a luster to the red of the flower that blooms above the dead in Flanders Fields. The time is now, the opportune time is now. Let us all remember, may we never forget.
And now our branch president will introduce our Silver Cross Mother.
I would like to take this moment to thank Debbie Pinkson, mother of Corporal Brian Pinkson, who was lost to us when he died from his wounds sustained from an IED explosion 15 kilometers west of Kandahar in August of 2010. As a Silver Cross mother, she has made a sacrifice that none would wish upon another, the loss of their child during their service to their country. The only comforting thought I can personally perceive through this tragic loss is that her love for her son and the sons and daughters who served alongside him is what helped mold him into a protector of not just Canada, but those who face tyranny and unimaginable oppression in that region. There's a quote I heard recently, and I'd like to share it with you all. No language can express the power and beauty and heroism of a mother's love.
Now, representing MP Leila Goodrich, Monique Gauthier.
Bonjour, good morning. My name is Monique Gauthier. I'm the constituency assistant to Leila Goodrich, Member of Parliament for Fort McMurray Cold Lake, and Shadow Minister for Addictions. I'm glad to share these remarks on her behalf. Remembrance Day is observed on November 11th to remember the end of the First World War. This is an important time for each and every one of us to remember those that have so bravely served our country, fighting for our freedom. But we must do more than remember veterans today. We must remember and honor them each and every day, including those who made the ultimate sacrifice. On behalf of the Government of Canada, thank you to each. You sure?
Try it.
Okay.
How's that?
I think that'll be fine. Okay. On behalf of the Government of Canada, thank you to each and every veteran in the crowd here today. We appreciate your service and your sacrifice. Thank you. Merci.
Don't touch the microphone. Okay? All right. Next is MLA Brian Jean.
Good morning, distinguished guests, veterans, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here today. As a lifetime resident of Fort McMurray and as somebody that is deeply connected to the community, I've always been impressed with how much we become part of this Remembrance Day and how many people are involved. Distinguished guests, veterans, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you as the Minister of Jobs, Economy and Northern Development and MLA for Fort McMurray-Lac-La-Biche, it is an absolute honor to be here today in my home sharing this with all of you. Remembrance Day ceremonies are special to me because both my oldest son and my father served in the military. And I'd like to begin by recognizing this year's Silver Cross mother, Debbie Pinkson. Nothing is a greater loss than losing a child. Mrs. Pinkson's son, Corporal Brian Pinkson, paid the ultimate price for us to defend our country and our allies in Afghanistan in 2010. He knew early in his life that he wanted to be part of a career in the Armed Forces for Canada and to serve his country. He enjoyed being a member of the Canadian Forces. Mrs. Pinkson, on behalf of our community, and our entire country, thank you. Thank you to you and your family. We all owe you a debt of gratitude. And as we gather here, we remember those who have fought for the rights and freedoms that we cherish and we take for granted today. Freedoms that Canadians like Corporal Pinkson gave their life for, that others continue to suffer for, and that some have physical and emotional scars that will continue for the rest of their lives. We also recognize those that continue to protect our community and country, including our armed forces and the RCMP and all of the special services emergency personnel, the Sheriff's Office, and all of those protective services, and members of our local fire brigade. Please remember them today and every day as they keep us safe, as they keep us from harm, as they do what they have volunteered to do for us. Today we also remember our Indigenous people who fought in World War I and World War II and continue to sacrifice for our country around the world in our missions. In closing, I would like to thank each and every one of you for attending today's service. Thank you for making it special. Thank you for taking the time to come here and show your support for our country and for the men and women that do so much for us every day all around the world.
Next, MLA Tani Yao.
To our fellow representative Monique Gauthier, Minister Jean, Mayor Bowman, to our peace officers, our paramedics, and our firefighters, honored dignitaries and guests. Thank you to our honored veterans and to your families, and for those of you that serve today. Thank you for being there, for your willingness to give up your lives for our country, for our nation, for our eternal freedoms, and for our peace and our liberties and our prosperity. Thank you all so much. Thank you for fighting this very real battle that continues to exist even today, so that, again, we have the ability to speak without fear, without prosecution, without intimidation, without fear. We can be reminded of the horrors of war as we see the hostilities in Ukraine. Tens of thousands dead, injured, for imperialistic reasons. This is what we risk if we are not ready. And this hostile neighbor is our neighbor, straight to the north of us. So for reasons like this, we need to ever be vigilant. And we thank our men and women over the armed forces for being there to protect us, to stand at our walls and our borders. And to people like Denise Pinkston, and our Silver Cross mother, and her son, Corporal Brian Pixon, who died in 2010. Thank you so much for your sacrifice. Thank you all. Amen. Thank you.
Mayor Sandy Bowman, please.
Good morning. Monique Gauthier, representing our Member of Parliament, Minister Brian Jean, Parliamentary Secretary Tani Yao, distinguished guests, Royal Canadian Legion Branch Number 165 representatives, veterans, ladies and gentlemen, and our local Silver Cross mother, Debbie Pinkston. I'd like to begin by recognizing that the land in which you live, learn, work, and play is Treaty 8 territory, the traditional lands of the Cree and Dene, and unceded territory of the Métis. On behalf of Council, I'm honored to be here this morning as we pay respect to the incredible people who sacrificed their lives to protect us and our collective values, and all those who with virtue and valor answered the call to service. I'd also like to acknowledge my fellow colleagues here today, Councillor Ken Ball, Councillor Lance Boussier, and Councillor Shafiq Dogar. As well, Councillor Alan Grandison will be at the Legion today representing the municipality at the ceremonies there in Waterways. Remembrance Day has been an important day in Canada for over 90 years now. As Canadians and people that call this place home, this is the day to pause, reflect, and show our gratitude to those outstanding citizens who defended our way of life and enabled the peace and prosperity we enjoy today in this region and across Canada. We honor them for their bravery and courage. We thank them for their service, and we commit to remembering them today and always. As I wrap up, I'd also like to thank all the veterans for their incredible service and bravery, and also thank our men and women that continue to be in uniform, as well as their families and everyone that supports them. By answering the most important call to service, and with everything you've done for our community, country, and the world, you've earned our deepest respects. Of course, I'd also like to thank members of the Royal Canadian Legion Branch Number 165 for hosting Remembrance Day ceremonies in our region every year. For this, and for all the positive contributions you make to our community, we say thank you. Finally, to everyone here today, and for all those that will mark this day of remembrance in their own way, thank you for honoring those that live and served and continue to serve our community and country. As a region and as Canadians, we must always honor our veterans and commend their service, sacrifice, and commitments to us all. And of all the events that I speak at each week and each month, this is one that's most nearest and dearest to my heart, because it's not about politics, it's not about what we need, it's just about saying thank you. And thank you to the men and women that sacrificed over the years so we can do what we're doing today, live in this free country. And I can have a warm bed at night because someone else didn't. I've been a father because someone else didn't. And I've been a husband because someone else didn't. So thank you.
Sergeant! Carry on!
Sergeant Commander! March on the sentries!
Rest on your arms, reverse! Reverse!
Color party. Stand up.
Rise.
Prepare to carry
And
colors.
replace headdress.
Carry! Colors! Lower the flag to half-mast. Trumpeter, last post. Trumpeter, roast. Color party, prepare to post colors. Post colors.
Would everybody please sit down? I would now like to ask Sergeant Pandy to read In Flanders Fields.
In Flanders field, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row. That marks our place. And in the skies, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt on, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders field. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders field.
Now, Chaplain Robert Parmenter will read the prayer of remembrance.
Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, the great Creator, from whose love in Christ we cannot be parted, we give you thanks today for all those that have been called to serve by either death or life. We ask today that you would surround the families that have lost loved ones by the ultimate sacrifice, and those who made it home and are struggling to find their place and are still serving today. We ask you to hear your prayers and our thanksgiving. For all whom we remember this day, fulfill in them the purpose of your love. And may your protection and your love and your peace surround them and their families, and bring us all with them to your eternal joy. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Now our branch president, Pat Duggan, will read our branch's roll of honor and recite the act of remembrance.
Ernest Frank Clark, Robert Hamilton, David Walter Hill, Frederick Lessaway, Howard Meehan, F. Patrick O'Coffey, George Waniandi, Gordon White. Please join me in the act of remembrance. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Now our stage guests will lay wreaths in order, representing the Sovereign and the Royal Canadian Legion. Patrick Duggan. Do you want David to go with you? Everybody comes down. Okay. Dark. Correct. Our Silver Cross Mother, Debbie Pinkson. Representing the Government of Canada, Monique Gauthier. Now representing the Government of Alberta, MLAs Brian Jean and Tanny Yao. MLA Tanny Yao. Representing the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo, Mayor Sandy Bowman. Representing the RCMP, Superintendent Mark Hancock. Representing Regional Emergency Services, Regional Fire Chief Jody Butts. Army Cadet Commanding Officer, Captain Joanne Angel. Air Cadet Commanding Officer, Captain Ellen Hopkins. Representing UN NATO Veterans Canada, Brian Picard.
Turn arms. Relieve the sentries.
Cenotaph Commander! March off the sentries!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise, replace headdress for God Save the King. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to watch the March Past in review in the next few minutes in the main concourse. After this, you are more than welcome to go to the Legion for comradeship in remembrance.
Turn arms. Carry on.
Okay, go ahead. Forward. Follow up Mercy and Parade! On the left! Quick! March!